You are watching or listening to Purham and Associates. For more information, go to rpurham.com or follow me on all social media platforms and subscribe at RPURHAM. Thanks. See you over there. Hey, good day to you all. Welcome to Purham and Associates. I'm your host, Randy Purham. Hey, I hope you all had a fantastic weekend, and the week is going good for you so far. Although it's Tuesday, never know what the rest of us has in store for us. And but nonetheless, we got a very special guest with us today. I'm excited to talk with him. He's actually a good friend of mine, and he's a fellow Austinite. So I have none other than Scott Firsing. He is the, Dr. Scott Firsing. He is the author of Uranium Sky, and he is a advisor and a consultancy, can't even say that word, specializing in aerospace, aviation, defense, space, and advanced technology. He advises global clients on market entry, government relations, executive strategy, and business development, drawing on a career that bridges academia, policy, and industry. A frequent speaker and widely published author, including the geopolitical technical thriller Uranium Sky, Dr. Firsing is recognized for his ability to connect innovation and strategy and policy to help organizations succeed in complex and highly regulated markets. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the some, presenting the others, Dr. Scott Firsing. Hey, good morning.
Randy, great. Good morning. Great to see you, my friend. How are you?
Absolutely. Living the dream, busy as all hell, but that's life.
Yeah, that's good. Exactly. I was thinking last time, actually, I think I saw you was when President Trump was in town right before the election last year at the airport. I think that's probably face to face at least.
Yeah, that was. I think that was the last time. You're right. Wow, it's been a while. And ironically, we live like 20 minutes away from each other. So,
yeah, exactly. We'll get together soon for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. No worries. So, Scott, it's good to finally get you on, because I know we talked about it before, getting you on the show and everything, and our schedules just constantly collided. But being busy and all of that, give us a rundown as to what's going on with you and the space industry, or I should say the aviation industry, in the Trump administration.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So some of your listeners or viewers would know that I actually ran for Texas House last year. So that's how we met for District 47 as a Republican candidate. So it was a fun, good race. Learned a lot. Met some fantastic people, which is definitely the best part. If anybody's ever thinking about running, the people you meet is I think by far the best part of running for office. So since November, unfortunately, we got 40% of the vote. Did not win, but that's okay. Like I said, a lot of positives came out of it, and since then, I've been running my own aviation and aerospace consultancy. That basically, in a nutshell, I help foreign companies that want to maybe penetrate the U.S. or Canadian markets. They've got an innovative product, or whether it's an airplane or a flight simulator or some kind of software that I think would fit well, with our companies, with our government or military, whatever it may be. I help assist them in that regard: networking, sales, marketing, dealing with the FAA, Capitol Hill, whatever it might take to try to get their company in front of the right people and their product out there. So
okay,
it's been good. Yeah, then also what I also do a few other things. I'm also the vice president of congressional affairs for something called the National Flight Training Alliance. So it's basically an association of all the America's flight schools and universities, because we've got a pilot and a maintenance shortage. I know you're a former military man, so you'll know this, Randy. But we're trying to encourage and make it easier for individuals to become future pilots and mechanics, because we need them all at the moment.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yes, definitely, and thank you for bringing that up, because with the shortage of pilots, going on, the rollback of, I ain't gonna say the rollback, but like the changing of regulations and whatnot, the upgrade of industry and everything else. There is a shortage of pilots, because some of those pilots are going back into retraining because of the new technology that's coming out and what have you.
Yep.
I see there's kind of like this lull, if you will, in how aviators nowadays are going through training versus how they used to go through training. So I will hope they come out much more qualified and much better trained versus, it's kind of like, we're here today, and we're figuring it out as we go. I hope it's not the case.
Yeah.
I hope that's not the case. But talk to us about what's going on in the realm of the space industry, because back when I was in my college days, I wrote a whole dissertation, a semi dissertation. It was part of a larger dissertation for my grad program about China's space program and the space race in comparison to other adversarial countries against the United States. At that time, the United States was kind of lagging behind, so China was actually had way more advanced programs for space technology than we did. Where are we at today with all of that? Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah. Oh, right. A good, interesting background. I didn't know you had did some research in that realm. Yeah. So, no, great question. Yeah, it's been an exciting time. I know Trump won. The administration he's the one who created the Space Force and advocated for us to get back to the moon and Mars and the launch of the Artemis program. So that started back in when was that? 2019. My memory serves me correctly. So that was kind of the precipice to say, okay, this is the goal. Some of your listeners might know. So we've kind of moved away. It's really gone into something that we call in the industry called new space. So it's a reliance on commercial space agencies, often, or companies, I should say, usually smaller companies. So NASA has something called the Commercial Lunar Payload Service that they launched. So the goal, essentially, with the Artemis program is, okay, we need to get back to the moon. Basically, we've got two targets. We got the moon, and then, of course, we need to get to Mars. But to get to Mars, we really need to learn from operating on the moon and in the moon orbits. Yeah, so you don't really. It's kind of hard when you're to 9 or 12 months away to call for a distress call on Mars, than rather than a 3-day window on the moon. So to answer your question, essentially, you might have saw actually news yesterday. They just selected new NASA astronauts for the mission, for the Artemis mission. What we're looking at is a time. Yeah, just announced new cohort, very impressive test pilots and engineers, a real good mix of individuals from private and public industry and military, of course. And so they're looking to do a crew launch next year that's going to fly, essentially test the Orion spacecraft and do a flyby of the moon to test basically the equipment. And also there's something they're setting up called the Gateway space station, which is going to be in lunar orbit. That'll be crucial for us delivering equipment and eventually astronauts back to the moon. But we've learned a lot over the past couple of years talking about China. So China, America's program is really based on the speed at which government works and procurement and so on, but also the speed of private industry as well. So happy to report, this, Texas, some of the Texas companies have recently landed on the moon the past 2 years. So we've got Intuitive Machines, which was the first American lander in decades that landed a few years ago. Then we had this year Firefly Aerospace in Cedar Park in Austin that also landed. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so they're just companies, sometimes smaller, sometimes your larger aerospace companies that win these contracts. They're playing a crucial role, and will become increasingly play a bigger role in the future. Of course, you've got SpaceX and others in that respect. So I say all that because I knew you asked your question about China. So China's obviously a little bit different. So I'm gonna put this in a polite way. America hitting our targets, often we're not the best at hitting our targets, unfortunately, for various reasons, whether it's red tape or regulation, or there could be a whole host of things. But China typically almost always is hitting their mark, and they've already laid out their time frame from now until 2035. So they've already done mining, essentially, I'm trying to think of the correct term, but they landed on the dark side of the moon recently. It was quite of a shock to us. Was able to land, excavate, get material from the lunar regolith, and then bring it back to the Earth to analyze what was there. And they have a time frame also. They want to have a crewed mission by around 2030. And like the Artemis program, they have their own program. It's called the International Lunar Research Station, the ILRS, and that's in cooperation with some of the partners like Russia and so on. So to answer your question, it's kind of
stuff I was right about. Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's what I was right. I remember.
Yeah, it's kind of neck and neck at the moment. So a lot of it is contingent on various players, like Lockheed Martin's, like the SpaceX, like some other smaller companies that I described. We're pretty sure that China is going to hit their mark, so we need to make sure that we get there in our time frame. That right now is a little bit earlier than their time frame.
Okay, good deal. So you mentioned Artemis, and I was recently. Well, I can say recently. It was actually like quite a while now, some months back. I was down in Houston at the Space Center there, and saw that the exhibit for Artemis had just opened a few days prior to that. Because I was talking to one of the curators there, and they said, "Oh, you just in time. We just opened this like 2 days ago," type of thing. And so the Artemis program, it struck me as interesting because Elon Musk talked about this as well, and getting to Mars rather. That's kind of like the primary goal for Artemis. But like to your point, the moon, getting to the moon first and understanding how the moon is working in relation to the other planets, or getting to Mars, is kind of like the pinnacle piece of it all. I'm wondering with China, Russia, and I believe it was India, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was India that are already, getting to the moon with their space programs and everything else. We're interacting or working with these countries on the International Space Station already. I'm trying to figure out that relationship as we're already working with these guys. They're already doing this thing. We're behind. Why can't we just reverse steal their technology like they do us? and get there. But I'm not advocating for stealing, folks. Don't get me wrong, but I am advocating for stealing from them.
Well, no, you make some good points. A lot of people don't realize that. I mean, obviously, space has always been a humanity endeavor. So the ISS, we do still, there's issues. As China has their own space station right now. The ISS will be decommissioned in a few years. That is planned. It will burn up over the oceans. So there are replacements. Axiom Space, some other companies, Starlab, they're looking to replace the space station. I mean, that's been crucial over the decades, what we've learned about radiation and what the effects on the human body, all the scientific experiments. We wouldn't be able to do, safely what we're going back with Artemis to the moon without all the research that's been done over the years at the ISS. So, so we do work very closely. So the Artemis is actually a joint, Artemis as a whole is a joint State Department. There's a State Department wing of it, and then there's also the NASA aspect of it. So you got space agencies. So we work with like JAXA, the Japanese space agency. You mentioned India as a robust, even Emirates, the UAE as a thriving space industry and program. Israel. So a lot of these countries are already making inroads. So we've got collaboration and agreements with them to work on various projects. So it's definitely not just us. We do rely on certain. A lot of them have very special niches, whatever it may be, depending on the location or or technology. So it's we are, we're helping. I mean, we're the leader, but we definitely need our allies in that regard as well.
Yeah. Now, in your role at your company, I want the audience to get a better understanding as to. Although I read it in your bio, no one listens to me like that. They listen to the actual guest. So tell us, what is your day-to-day operations like at your company?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, to sort of answer that question very quickly, I got to give just some background. So, I started my career actually over 20 years ago as an intern at the United Nations. I grew up in New Jersey area, so haven't been a Texan from birth. Only been in Austin about 9 years now. But then I moved overseas to South Africa. Where I lived over there for about 10 years. So that was kind of crucial in building my network. So I worked as well as a professor. I was a professor for many years, but I worked for a defense contractor. I worked for a private intelligence agency. And a whole host of industries, mining, defense, aviation, the works. So I was lucky enough to travel around the world very frequently. And what was kind of nice when I came back to America, it was kind of difficult coming back, but what I did have was a good network. And then I realized there was kind of a niche for foreign companies to sort of bridge the gap between the U.S. and these countries. So whether it's just understanding American culture, or how does procurement at the Pentagon work, or even helping U.S. companies that maybe want to go out to Europe or in the African markets. They have no idea. A lot of people you talk about going into wherever it may be, Angola or Rwanda or even South Africa, they don't even know where to start. So it goes both ways. But typically, my company helps most of the Europeans right now come into the American market, and most of it's on the aviation sector, just to distinguish between aviation and the aerospace side. So I got a couple of clients in France, Switzerland. So my day-to-day is essentially liaising with those clients, basically solving their problems. Do they need to do any regulatory work for the FAA? Do they need to they're looking to sell a certain product, whether it's an airplane? Do they want to build their brand? Are looking for partnerships? Are looking for a U.S. office? Why should I open an office in Texas versus Florida with Space Florida? And what does the tax incentives look like? Where's the best recruitment possibilities? So it could be a whole host of things, from site selection to sales, marketing, lobbying. Even. Who do I need to speak to in D.C. To get our name out there if we want to go? So it's kind of that in a nutshell. So
gotcha.
And a lot of traveling, like you, Randy.
A lot of I know. I was gonna say I know you're on the bird like every other day type of thing. Yeah, I'm like that dude. He got more airline miles than anybody I know probably right now. Because it's I know it's busy. I know it's busy. Even when I was running for Congress out of Alaska. Just in a matter of a couple of months, I racked up like double-digit thousands of miles. It was like just between going to Alaska, DC, and Texas, just doing what I call the Bermuda Triangle. it was doing that, and it was just like I was like, man, how do these folks do this? And I traveled a lot while I was in Europe. When I was working at NATO, traveling all around Europe, but they were short. They were short flights. Because you. Going from Italy to Frankfurt is an hour and some change, type of thing. So it was no big deal, but it was the frequency of it is what wears you down. And so it was just like, man, I loved it though. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. I had a blast. I had a blast, but
that jet lag though.
The jet lag. Yeah, I was gonna say, looking back on it, I'm like, I won't do that stuff now. But nah, I'm good. But
it definitely gets harder as you get older. Yeah,
it does. Yeah, no doubt. It wears you down on your body. You start having swollen legs, sitting on the plane so long, and stuff like that. But I want to jump into your book, Uranium Sky. Tell us about it, and what was the motivation behind writing this book?
Well, I actually wrote it for my daughters. I got two daughters. Actually, both were born in South Africa, and we lived over there. It's covered, man, Randy, probably about 2018, 2019, something like that. I was getting a little older. I was like, you know what? I think I need to start writing some of these stories down. Like you traveling around Europe, it's like, I probably got to start forgetting some of this stuff. So I started writing chapters, and the original idea for the book came from actually a true story. There's this there's a nuclear. Most people might not know that South Africa built 6 nuclear weapons during the apartheid years. Post Mandela, they still have the highly enriched uranium to this day. That's in a facility called Pelindaba, which is just outside of Pretoria, not too far. So I used to drive past there when I was living there all the time to go for different locations where I worked, and thought it was always interesting that behind this vault, it's monitored by the IAEA, is this 450 pounds of highly enriched uranium. And then 2007, true story, you could look it up. Armed gunmen broke into the facility, very strategic, cut through wire fencing, knew the security procedures and protocol, ended up shooting a security guard, and the chest, got very close to stealing the uranium. So the uranium actually stores kind of in silver discs. I don't want to go down the whole H235 and how to build a nuclear weapon, but they got very, very close. It was kind of a big international incident. They never really knew if it was China or if it was somebody else or who it was. But I thought, wow, this would make a really good story, and not a lot of people know about it. So that was that was the original story. The book was going to be called Finding Pelindaba. So I had this idea, okay, man, what if someone did steal this uranium, and then kind of a Tom Clancy hunt around the world for where'd the uranium go? So that was the original story, and I was thinking more. It's very much Tom Clancy in its present day. Maybe I don't know if any non-Tom Clancy fans, but at one point he was usually under investigation by intelligence agencies because he did such a thorough job on it.
Yeah, he was spot on. It was
military intelligence.
It's like, how you know all this? Yeah.
I mean, I know he's passed on for years, and it's obviously easier now with AI and getting access to just research, factual research and that. But back then, I remember he had to get his books cleared by people like Langley just to make sure there wasn't any classified information during the end of the Cold War when he was really at his height in the 80s. Anyway, so a lot of stuff we were just talking about before. I wanted to incorporate that into the book. So it's very much the science is real, the history is real. But then I incorporated another element to it, which is kind of alien first contact, which is something that's always fascinated me. Archaeology, since I was a kid, has been something that's really interested me. So, and then all those questions that every human thinks about: Are we alone? Where did we come from? Where are we going? So all those are kind of tied into the book and tied particularly to the space industry.
Yeah, I like you. I am I just say a fascinator / fan of ancient aliens and the whole phenomena of whether or not we are we alone, type of thing. I see, based on what you describe in your book, I would say it's more of it's a hybrid of Tom Clancy and Black Panther, who with the uranium aspect of it, the verbanium or verbium, whatever it's called, they got going on.
Yeah.
So it might be a hybrid of that going on with some alien introductories in there. But thank you for that. Thank you for writing this and put this together, put this out there, because you're right. It is important for people to understand the relationships that are out there in terms of how foreign countries. Why there's interest in foreign countries and their their precious metals and their resources that we don't have in the United States, or if we do have it, it's a little depository of it. So China, with their Belt and Road Initiative, they're creating all these strategic partnerships. I air quote that, ladies and gentlemen, that's listening. They're strategic partnerships with Africa, with some countries out of Europe, South America countries. Then you have the BRICS alliance, in which I talk about a lot, so my audience should know what I'm talking about here. But with the BRICS alliance, their growing interest is moving towards more defense than economics. And with that defense apparatus, they're looking at getting into enriched uranium or uranium deposits and stuff like that. And I want to get your thoughts on. I want to get your thoughts on how these different entities, if you will shape defense policy for the United States with that.
Yeah. No, that's good question. And I kind of talk a lot about in the book to the latest, basically up to this year, what's going on. So you mentioned BRICS. I was very much involved with BRICS. I still work as a senior research associate for a think tank in South Africa, which is hosting the G20 coming up. So I might be there for that. So they formed something a few years ago called the Space Council, BRICS Space Council. And like I was mentioning before, every country's got their specialities. South Africa, given its geographic location, in terms of communications-wise, where they are in the southern hemisphere, is a crucial partner, similar to like Australia. They're really well known for space weather. So they got that special component part of that those partnerships that we mentioned before.
Space weather.
So
wait. Yeah. I had to stop you there. Space weather. Okay. Yeah, entertain me here. What the hell is space weather? So, I never heard of that.
No, Randy, you being a military man, you know the importance of our satellite network for communication. I mean, for everything is really the satellite communications. There's now people might be familiar with other podcasts that know that Japan recently launched a solar panel that will capture energy and will beam pure solar energy down to Earth via microwave. So this technology, this is happening at the moment. So space weather, of course, solar flares, monitoring of what's happening, particularly solar flares and activity from the sun and meteorites, asteroids, that sort of thing, is becoming more and more important. And that's going to become more and more important in terms of the transfer window to Mars, but also to the moon. So you need astronauts. There is radiation shielding, but they need to be aware of when these events are occurring, whether it might knock out communications.
Right.
So
I wanted to stop. I wanted to stop you at the space weather, because people start thinking oh, there's a tornado in space, and there's not exactly, guys. No, what we're talking about is, like you said, solar flares. There's space phenomena that's particularly tied to the weather per se in space. And so no, folks, you're not going to see rain clouds on Saturn type of thing, or hovering around Saturn, coming towards the United States. It is, oh my God, global warming is here. Oh, the climate change. Oh, look, the icebergs they went upside down now. And no, folks, that's not what we're talking about here. So that's why I want to jump in. I want to stop you there, because I know some people they send me text messages talking about something. Told you, there was a hurricane coming. It was coming in from outer space. And it's like, no, that's not it. But that's not how that works.
Yeah, that's and you mentioned that kind of. There's, a lot of, you could talk about this for days, but the international law, the existence of the Space Force, as part of our military, is because to protect those assets. It's kind of like we're in a spot now. A good analogy people use is kind of like during the exploration days in the 15, 1600s of the oceans. Like who controls, and then if something goes wrong, who's there? Who's going to actually save you, or who's there to rescue you? Right. So that's kind of space law is being written right now as we speak. And you mentioned profits, defense versus economics. So helium-3, future of quantum computing is very important. In the lunar regolith, helium-3 is quite abundant because of solar wind and billions of years. Basically, it's special because it's got 3 isotopes, and it makes it very easy to do nuclear fusion. It's got very special properties in terms of low temperatures for computing. So mining of helium-3 is one of many reasons to go back to the moon.
Where do you get that? Where do you get helium-3 from?
So it's found actually in the lunar surface, in a lunar regolith. It's not really found on Earth.
Okay.
So we have helium-4. Just two protons, 2 neutrons. That's quite abundant here. But helium-3 it's a very, very stable, very easy to create nuclear fusion when you basically combine it with other elements. So future of energy could be a possible catalyst for the future of energy here on Earth. So yeah, important. Yeah, and one of the reasons why China has has landed where they did. Exactly.
Yeah, because I have heard of helium-3 and some conversations about that a couple years back, and in the conversation. It was kind of alluded to that it was not of Earth, an earthly product, and that would, now you just kind of clarified it for me, that is why China probably is going to the moon, or particularly the backside of the moon, because that's where it'll be a little bit more abundant, shielded from the sun and all the other stuff that may be going on to destroy that particular isotope. I want to. Man, I can talk all day about this stuff because I don't get a chance to have these conversations with people. I just don't, and I love this kind of stuff. And you just don't find people that know this stuff, on a day-to-day basis. So it's just I would be all day, and folks be like, "What?" I know the listeners today are probably like, "What? What is he talking about?"
No, it's such a fancy advanced technology. That's a big part of the book too. Is I wanted people to understand where we are right now. Even people, it's hard to understand quantum computing. The average person, talking about superposition and quantum entanglement. People are like, I thank the Lord, we've got people like Michio Kaku and some other Brian Cox. These guys are really good at explaining, with their analogies of a chessboard and so on. So I want to attempt that here. They do a much better job than I think than I do. But this stuff is happening.
Yeah, I would love to get. I was gonna say I would love. You mentioned Mitch Takachu. I would love to get him and what's his name? Ancient Aliens. Here, I can't think of his name right now. It just escaped me.
Oh, Giorgio,
yeah. I would love to get them two on a panel, and and have, hey, even you also, the three y'all, because y'all would bring the three different dynamics that are related to the industry, and y'all would like merge them together, and that would probably be the most mind-blowing conversation in world history. Like, they would like rank up there with Plato and Socrates type of stuff. You'd be like,
well, I think
what are they talking about? Well, yeah, so
I think they both got to mention it in my book, because I mean it's. Actually, even I just wrote another paper for my think tank about the Africa just launched its own space agency. So the book kind of evolved while I was writing it because I knew that they're launching the African Space Agency in Egypt. It's just outside of Cairo, which is beautiful. If people haven't seen, they're building this brand new, it's called New Cairo, which is about 30 minutes outside of downtown Cairo, which is a government building. And the African Space Agency is there. They launched it earlier this year. Big inauguration with all the foreign dignitaries and so on, facilities. So there's a lot going on, and the book evolved over the past year because of podcasts like yours and others listening. All the big ones. Like, wow, that's really interesting. So I won't give away any spoilers. For example, but one part of the book is kind of a cliffhanger. Was after listening to, you're familiar with Colossal, the American company that brought back the dire wolf. Using CRISPR, using genes. So I'm like, wow. It was kind of hard as a nonfiction a political professor to get creative because part of the time I was like, hey, I could actually it's a novel. I could just do whatever I want to do, Right. It doesn't have to be factual. So I always had to balance the creativity. I want this to be as factual as possible, but also I could, blur the line. Put a little
sci-fi in there. Throw a little sci-fi in there.
Yeah, exactly. A little sci-fi. So there's some alien. I don't want to give too much away, and there's also a part of what would it look like if we had this gene editing tool, and what can humans create at the moment that might mean something for the future of our species and where we're headed. So that's part of the book, and that became just without listening to a couple of podcasts a few months ago. I was finishing the book. I sort of did a little detour and added another storyline into it. So.
Gotcha. Okay, good deal. Scott, where can ladies and gentlemen, for those that are on the listening side of this today. UraniumSky.com. But Scott, tell people how they can follow you and support you, sir. And share any final thoughts you may have.
Yeah, no, great. Yeah, UraniumSky.com is the website. Books available on Amazon.com and on BarnesandNoble.com. For local Austinites, it's actually just hit the shelves at Book People downtown. So very thrilled to partner with them, to support local authors, and also will soon be on the half-price books, particularly in Cedar Park, doing a book signing coming up. But so yeah, check out uraniumsky.com for news, and then also my Twitter handle is just at Scott Firsing.
Awesome sauce. Sir, thank you so much for your time, and I truly appreciate this conversation. You just don't know, you actually made my day today, because like I said, I don't get a chance to have these kind of conversations. Everything is dealing with always, like, the political mantra of the day, if you will, but to actually get into some weeds about space technology, aviation. So I don't get a chance to have these conversations, and I be like trying to get it out of people, but they just don't know, and I'm just like, damn.
Right. Well, you got my cell phone number. Call me. We can have this conversation whenever you want. Yeah, exactly. I'm always at the same boat. We never have the opportunity, so very happy to talk. And whoever wants to talk about it, it's always fascinating.
Absolutely. Scott, hey, I appreciate you. Let you get out of here. Be safe out there. I'll see you around soon, and be safe, and God bless you.
Yeah. Oh, God bless you, Randy. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Scott Firsing book, Uranium Sky. Hey, go check it out. Go pick it up. For those that are geeks like me, Uranium Sky. Go, like you said, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. You could also go jump down to his website and check him out if you're interested in getting some of that consulting work. If you're in the space place, like hey, that rhymes. Yeah, space place. If you're in the space place, go over there to his website and reach out. And then also, like I said, you go to uraniumsky.com if you want to get the ebook version of the book there. So, folks, we're gonna jump up out of here. It's a lot going on, so I'm gonna shut up, and I will catch you all soon. I think I'll be here tomorrow, actually, so yeah, we'll see. But anyways, God bless you all, be safe, and ciao. I hope you enjoyed today's program. You can follow, like, share, subscribe on Spotify, Substack, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and your news. And also, you can download Let the Truth Be Told app on your favorite streaming platforms, such as Fire Stick, Apple TV, and Roku. Take care.